Welcome, minions, to another episode of Burden of POOF. Today, we're going to break down another call from the Atheist Experience show. We're going to witness some silly illogical reasoning and learn how not to argue for the existence of the supernatural. Alright, let's do this.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul and seal your doom tonight. Spooky, scary skeletons.
Okay, so today we have caller Andrew, who's a silly little philosopher who's calling the show to provide definite proof of God. Obviously, he has no solid, tangible evidence, but he will take us on a journey to the land of imagination. We're going to go through the different realms of possibility and even visit the multiverse. All right? Buckle up, everybody. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Good, how are you?
Freaking awesome.
So go ahead.
I just wanted to ask why you don't believe.
Haven't seen any good evidence. Do you have some?
Yeah, I do.
Let's hear it. You could change my life right now.
Can I ask a question first?
Oh, can I answer your question with another question, Andrew?
You just did. Any more?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Are you a naturalist as well, or just an atheist?
How would you define naturalist?
Somebody who believes that only one world, the natural world, exists.
You mean like,
nothing transcends
what is a
it?
world? Like Earth or Mars? Are those different worlds?
Like a realm. I'm talking in philosophical terms, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not much of the philosophical person, but I guess, I've heard the multiverse. There might be even multiple universes. So I don't know.
Right, but that could still be entirely naturalistic. I was talking about, do you believe in anything that's supernatural?
What is supernatural?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything yet. You have something supernatural?
So you don't believe? So
Well, it's not that I don't. It's not that I don't believe. It's that I haven't seen it.
As well, or just an atheist?
I guess my question would be, what are you putting forward as supernatural?
Something that transcends the natural world.
Well, for
The reason why Andrew is frustrating is because instead of providing evidence like he said he would, he's going to take us, like I said, on a journey. And he's going to start spewing little philosophical terms that obviously nobody can define. He's going to talk about supernatural. He's going to talk about transcendent. Here's the problem with those carnal arguments. Nobody knows what they are. And people get very easily confused. So you have to stop Andrew at every step of the way and have him define these terms. And you have to do that because before you know it, if you let him get away with it, you're going to end up somewhere scratching your head, not even knowing what you're talking about. So I like what the hosts are doing here. They're going to stop him every step of the way, and they're going to tell him to define his little terms. Now, it's going to frustrate Andrew because he's a smug little philosopher with a little bit of an attitude and a chip on his shoulder. But, let's persevere.
example.
Yeah, what do you got?
I'm not proposing this. This is just a preemptive question before I get into something else.
Right, but I need to know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know what
Right.
supernatural
for
means.
example.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just giving you an example. So a Platonic form, for example, wouldn't be a god, so you could be an atheist while believing in them. So
A platonic form? Let's talk about like a platonic relationship? Platonic form. Okay.
something like that is supernatural, but not a god.
Wait, a what?
I think I missed a word in there.
Yeah, I did too.
Like
me
a Platonic form.
Like such as?
I'm not familiar with the word. I'm sorry.
Like the property of something that exists transcendent in another realm.
I don't
Like
know
what?
What does transcendent mean?
Like numbers and abstract ideas.
I believe in
stuff like
numbers.
that.
I'm good with numbers.
Yeah, I like some numbers.
Alright.
Do you think numbers are supernatural?
I don't
No,
think he
I'm
thinks
saying
that.
they could be if you thought they
Oh.
were represented in Platonic ideals in a supernatural realm.
I don't know.
Oh my god, motherfucker. What is... Ugh.
So, can you give me an example of a supernatural number?
No, yeah, I don't think you're accurately representing what I'm asking
Okay,
you.
well, tell us.
I'm trying to.
I don't think you're actually representing what you're asking. You're argument is just off the wall. It's just mumbo jumbo. I hope you guys brought some forks so we can eat this word salad.
Understand? I guess I'm not trying to represent what you're asking.
Like spirits, for example.
What is a
What is a
spirit?
spirit?
Hold on.
I can't continue if I don't know what you're talking about.
Right,
It's
you guys
really
can't
important that I
explain.
understand you. What is a spirit?
Okay, so spirits, for example, they wouldn't be a god, but they could be something that's supernatural.
But what's a spirit?
And so an immaterial representation.
If it's immaterial, how do you know about it?
embodiment of. Okay, well, we can get to those questions. I'm just asking if you believe it or not.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
guess
we're trying
given
to
the default
figure
of
out.
something that cannot be defined, do I believe it? No. If
Do you
could-
believe that something exists more than the material?
And I'm saying, like, for example, and I can't get an
Yeah,
example.
I don't know what it means more than the
example,
material.
Platonic
So if it's not material, how does it exist? Where? Which property does it have? Andrew, tell us.
form or a spirit. I've given you two examples.
But we don't know what a spirit is. That's the problem. And when you give us a definition, that definition doesn't seem
It's
to.
an immaterial substance that transcends our realm and holds personhood.
Wow.
Oh, wow, indeed. Hold on a second. A material form that transcends. What now? Huh?
I don't know what
Such
happened
as
to words.
what?
Right?
Like,
But I'm just asking you if you believe it or not.
I don't know what that is because I have no frame of reference that includes a thing like that. So I don't know what you're describing.
Damn it, Tracy, why don't you believe things that I'm telling you? It's immaterial, it's a spirit, it's supernatural, it's transcendent, it's platonic. Just believe it, goddammit. It's so simple. Why are you guys being difficult?
So then you don't believe it then if you have no frame of reference.
I guess
for
I
referring
can't
to it, then
believe
you
a
don't
thing
believe
if it can't be meaningfully defined. Correct. I can't believe
I
a
just
thing.
gave you three. I just gave you three attributes. That
No,
are
you,
both-
you made you gave us three
Immaterial
words.
is not an attribute; it's a lack of it. I mean, what is immaterial? Like, is that what you were talking about with the numbers?
No, that was just an example for something else. But I'm just asking.
Oh.
you-
So, do you think numbers are material?
Do I think numbers are material?
Are they
so
real?
No, they're obviously not material.
So they're
but they
immaterial?
Could exist naturally.
Well,
Right, but they don't exist as a substance or a thing.
well, if they did, then they'd be
Right.
material, right? So those are immaterial.
Well, is that what you're saying? The only thing that exists are abstract ideas and.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
trying to understand what you're saying.
So why don't you get to the part after this
Okay.
that maybe and see what happens.
Okay, so
I'm
I'm going to
optimistic.
define what I think. I'm going to define what I think a god is. Right.
All right, get out your forks. Here comes the salad.
Okay.
And then you can tell me if it qualifies as something you believe in or not. Is that fair?
I guess, yeah. Let's hear
Sure.
it. Shoot.
So I believe God is uncaused, timeless,
How do you know this?
spaceless, immaterial.
I want to hear his definition
Okay.
first. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I believe that I believe that God is uncaused, timeless, spaceless, immaterial, extremely powerful entity that created the universe. Do you believe that exists?
What? That's quite a mouthful. So Andrew wants everybody to believe that there is something that exists that's timeless, spaceless, immaterial, but all-powerful, of course, created everything, yet it exists in this realm of possibilities that we cannot comprehend. We just have to believe that there's such a thing that exists out there that obviously we can't interact or test or see or smell or do anything with. We just have to believe that it's out there and it's possible. And if you believe, well, I guess you're a theist, and here you go. And if you're a skeptic and you go, huh? What now? Well, then I guess you're an unreasonable person, according to Andrew. All right, let's go on. I hope you're not full yet.
I don't even know how that would exist. Like, how are you even defining existence? How would it exist if it's not really in what way is it existing?
Why do you believe this?
Because
I think that there's a good argument for it. But do you think you could answer whether you believe that thing exists?
I don't even know how you define existence if what you just described is what you would say fits into that definition.
Let's pretend you
This is
believe
what I
it.
tried to establish if you think that only material things can exist.
Well, no, I'm asking how do you define, like if something exists, how do you determine that? Like what to you is considered to be existent?
Logical arguments and reason and evidence.
All right, so let's assume.
Okay, let's see them, motherfucker. Let's see any of those things you just mentioned. Let's see a logical argument, not a word salad, and let's see some fucking evidence that you've been talking about. So far, you took us on a trip to the land of make-believe, but I still haven't seen one solid piece of argument, solid piece of evidence. All right, Andrew, you give me blue balls here. Let's go.
You believe what you said you believed. What is your evidence?
Okay, but can you just tell me if you believe that or not?
My position doesn't affect your evidence.
I'm not going to argue for something that you could believe in. So just.
He's basically saying if you believe it, there's no reason for him to make an argument.
No, I think he's saying if I don't believe it, there's no reason to make an argument.
No, he's saying if you don't believe it, there is a reason to make an argument.
What are you saying?
Nobody knows what he's saying. just tell him what he wants to hear, and then maybe he'll go away.
No, I believe that thing exists. I believe that is a God. You are an atheist. You do not believe in a God. Does that qualify as something you would determine to be a God?
For the sake of argument, yes.
Okay.
Continue.
So,
give us your evidence.
Okay. So my argument is...
How long is this show?
Let him go. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Tracy's being way too nice. I like Tracy a lot. She makes some good arguments. She's a good host, but sometimes she's way too nice. And this smug little douche does not deserve it.
So basically the Kalam cosmological argument, but I reframe it in a different way.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Fucking knew it. So this guy is invoking the Kalam cosmological argument, and for those of you that don't know what that is, you're probably better off. But I'll tell you anyway. It's this stupid philosophical theistic argument that basically that everything that exists has a creator and a cause and blah 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 blah, and ultimately the first cause was God. Now, can you prove any of that shit? Of course not. You just have to believe like everything else.
I told you.
Sounds so familiar.
Yeah, I don't do arguments. That's more of a Matt thing. I consider arguments.
You don't do arguments?
I consider them verbal masturbation.
Yeah, I tend to
it's
say
just a bunch of
at
words.
the end of the day, an argument to me is like a hypothesis, and then the question becomes, how are you going to test for it? So you have.
I'm presenting a formal logical argument.
That's fine, but I'm assuming that at the end of your argument, the answer is, and so therefore this thing that I just described exists and is a God. And so my question, question is, let's skip to the end.
Okay.
You've got this concept now that is like this God that you just described as having the attributes you described, and you've explained. Let's just say you gave a formal argument that you accept as coming to that conclusion, and we've heard it, and we think, ooh, that's an interesting argument.
Yeah.
Now, how do we test to make sure that it's actually correct?
It's not about. I'm presenting a logical argument.
Yeah, right. We've granted you.
You're giving us the kind of the reason why you think that this thing must be or could be, right? That's what this would come down to.
It's deductive. It's not even.
Ooh, we got to test for things? Nah, there's no need. I'm just gonna tell you this philosophical masturbation that I've come up with. There's no need to test it. Just listen to what I say and admit that. Yeah, well, it's possible that those things are somewhere, could be. No need to test things. Here's what Andrew doesn't understand. So, some people are skeptics. And just having offered this silly little bullshit philosophical word salad diarrhea doesn't do fuck all for any of us. We don't believe bullshit just because you can come up with something in your brain. Some of us need to see some evidence, some proof that is tangible, that is solid, that is testable, and falsifiable. And that's how it all falls apart. And Andrew's going to start getting a little frustrated here, as he should be.
Right, but at the end of the day, it only matters if we can actually test to see if what you've concluded it is in reality there.
Are you denying logic?
No, I'm saying that if what
How do you do
logic
this,
would
I'm denying your logic, Andrew.
provide you would be the reason for why you think this. But in order for us to test that it actually does correspond to reality, then we should have some method to test for it. So we get to the end of your argument. Everybody says, wow, it really sounds like this makes sense. How do we make sure that it's actually true?
You only believe in things that can be tested.
Well, no, we have to confirm it. Don't you think that verifying what you believe is important?
Yeah, that's why I have a premise form argument. So the,
Right.
so the conclusion is...
But that's not
hold on,
verification.
Yeah, for the moment, we're going to pretend that we agree with your argument.
Okay.
Just skip to the end. You've
I haven't even
convinced us.
presented it. Okay.
But that's okay. You don't need to present it. You'll save us all half an hour. We assume that you're right, and your evidence, your argument has convinced us there is a God. What about it? What do we do with that?
I'm wondering, how do we
You
confirm it?
believe, because that's what a logical argument is, and that's evidence.
Who gives a shit, Andrew? Who fucking cares? If you present this picture of a God that exists in some imaginary realm of possibilities that has no bearing on our world, and you just want us to believe, who fucking cares? That if you believe or not, what difference does it make?
But I want to confirm. I want to confirm it though, because this is very,
So
this is
Confirm.
Are you a deist? Are you a deist?
confirm.
Are you a deist?
I would rather not get into that first. You're an atheist, so you don't believe in any sort of a God.
All right,
So
pretend
if I
I'm a
establish
deist.
A single God.
I'm a deist.
Change your name to the Deist Experience, and then I'll call back in.
All right, well,
if
thanks.
I show you that any sort of God exists, then I've falsified your position.
But you didn't show that any God exists, Andrew. You're just frustrating everybody with a stupid-ass argument that there is a possibility that in some transcendent multiverse realm, there may be some being that nobody can measure or test or see exist. It's not the same fucking thing.
So that's what I'm trying to do here.
But what you're saying, though, is at the end of the day, if you think it's reasonable to believe a God exists, even if you have no way to verify that it's correct, you think that it's okay to just believe it.
Yes, because it's the most reasonable conclusion.
Okay, so you're using the argument from it just makes sense to me.
That's all you need.
I don't find that to be convincing.
It has to be true.
What?
It has to be true. I'm giving you two premises and a conclusion. The conclusion necessarily follows. Now, the premises could be unsound. That's entirely possible. But
Right? How would we know?
possible.
How would we know that there isn't a problem with some of the premises if we can't test to make sure the conclusion is accurate?
Let me present
I can't,
them
but if
first,
I
and then you
can't
can tell me.
Okay.
Yeah, you can talk about the premises if you want. I don't do these.
I don't
so.
understand how it would even matter if my prior mode of thinking.
Okay, so give me those reasons. That's what philosophical
What I'm saying is,
conversation
what
about.
I'm saying is, if you give your reasons and we agree with you, we still, all three of us, don't know if we're right. So it doesn't matter at the end of the
Just let me
argument
explain
unless
something
we
really
can
quick.
confirm it.
So there's two premises and a conclusion. If the premises are true, the conclusion is necessarily true, and it is reasonable to believe what's true. We can agree on that?
Right, but what I'm saying is that just because we agree that what you would put forward makes sense doesn't mean that we're right.
And if you were following that logic and you wanted to convince us with this argument that there was a God, and we just jumped to the end and said, okay, there is a God, you still don't want to go on.
What are you talking?
I said, assume you're right.
presenting you an
Your
argument
argument
for the
wins.
existence of-
There is a God. Now what?
Tell him what he wants to hear so he would go away, Phil.
Okay, great. I've destroyed the show then.
Thank you.
So your position is falsified then.
Show's destroyed. Checkmate, atheist. What a fucking tool.
Okay, thank you for calling.
Position's wrong.
And it means nothing. So you're
That's
basically
all
saying
that's all you've got.
that nothing.
What do you mean it means nothing?
He just asked
What do
you
you do
what
with
that
it?
would mean.
You've converted me to a deist. I believe in God. Now what?
Okay. Now you're a more reasonable person.
Oh, Jesus.
Goodbye. That's called. Where are we at?
It's the red one.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Wow, what a frustrating little smug douchebag. If you have no evidence to support your arguments, what you can do is you can razzle-dazzle and bamboozle everybody with your philosophical little word masturbation. At the end of the day, what difference does it make? He just wants to admit that, well, it's possible that in some world there could be some all-powerful being that exists in some reality or some realm of possibilities. Who fucking cares? Listen, it is possible that in some reality, Asgard is a real fucking thing, and Thor Ragnarok is a goddamn documentary. But not in this one. It is possible that in some alternate fucking multiverse, Season 8 of Game of Thrones wasn't complete fucking shit and didn't ruin the goddamn show. But not in this one. In this one, it sucked fucking balls. And after all, why do we care about some possibility of existence in some realm that we can't fucking see and has no bearing on us? Just to admit that it's possible? What difference does it make? These frustrating arguments are really, really difficult to deal with. And these guys who have solid proof, well, I've destroyed your show. What a freaking little douche. On that note, we're going to wrap it up. This was a frustrating call. I'm going to have to get a drink after this one. All right? I will see you guys later on the next episode.